5 and a 5 at the cervix, and we are dividing 6 and a 6 on either side of the midline on the top. Okay. So and your wax block is almost 1 millimeter, 1 millimeter and slightly more. So on the top, whatever you're measuring should be almost touching your outer surface of the block. That's how you will remember it. Okay. Whereas here 5 and a 5 could be somewhere over here. Okay, so I'm just going to connect these two like that, from here like that. Okay, all right. And lingually, the same thing, but I'm going to keep lingually narrow because the tooth is narrow on the lingual surface compared to the buccal surface. All right. So the same thing, I'm going to make a trapezoid but slightly narrow on the lingual surface. I'm going to join the lines from the top. This will make it easier for you to carve. You know, when you're looking from the top, it's easier. The D for distal, M. Okay, so again you can extend the midline like that. So buccolingually, the measurements are about 1 millimeter lesser than the mesiodistal. And this comes almost close to the midline, okay, the top line. And lingually, it's almost straight and it's kind of curved, so I'm gonna make it like that. Okay, so that's how the lingual outline looks. Okay, so the same thing I'm gonna do it on the distal side as well. So this is the buccal, cervical 1/3, height of contour, go close to the midline, lingually mark a point somewhere in the middle 1/3, and almost straight kind of outline. Okay, and you can actually connect them from the top as well to make sure that you're not reducing it at a different plane. Okay. You can check all the surfaces for the outline buccally, okay? From the cervical 1/3 you have the curvature, the lingual outline is almost straight, and you will see the outline from the top. It has to be narrower lingually, so I want to make it a little bit more narrow from the lingual side. So I'll just reduce it like that, closer to the lingual. Just make like a small V here, a V, okay? And on the other side as well, you can draw a midline to help you do that, okay? And then you need to just, it's a very small V, okay? You will be cutting it very shallow like that, okay? And here as well. So don't exceed the outline of the V which you've written, so it'll look something like that. So it's along the mesial and distal. So please don't cut buccal and lingual, then it will be a total disaster. I'll start with the lingual, okay? So the lingual cusps, there are two lingual cusps and they're almost equal in size. So it's easy for us to do that. So draw a line like this right in the center and go all the way onto the occlusal surface, okay? And on the lingual surface too. So go almost till your height of contour, okay? So up to the middle third almost. So you do that line here. So this is dividing your mesiolingual and the distal lingual cusp, okay? And then we'll move on to the buccal side. How many cusps are there on the buccal side? Three cusps, okay? So mesiobuccal is the biggest one, okay? So we're going to divide it like that. So it's almost like a slant line. It's not a straight line. So that's your mesiobuccal, okay? And then the distal buccal, go almost towards the end like this, okay? So that's your distal buccal cusp. But over here, make a slant line like that, because this is going to be your distal cusp. Mesiobuccal, distal buccal, and this is the distal cusp, all right? So you've divided the cusps, okay? Now we'll start carving. This is a little bit tricky part, so watch carefully. So what we're going to do first thing is the line which we have drawn. So you can use either this end or this end, whatever you're comfortable with. I'm just going to use slightly blunt end because it won't take out too much wax. So you're just defining it, okay, in that way. So basically you're creating like a concavity, if I can describe what I'm doing, okay? Okay, so we created that concavity, and then right next to that just try to carve it like this. Okay, so this is to create the shape of the cusp, and the same here from this side. So you're creating like a small ridges, yeah. Okay? You know how to do that, right? You've done it in the premolar and in the canine. So that's what I'm doing. So I'm just trying to create a very small ridge here. Okay. Yeah. Same thing I'm going to do on the buccal as well. So same thing, around that line which you've drawn, create a concavity like that. I'm trying to teach you the most easiest way, okay, to carve. So please watch. So distal cusp, if you notice, it's very small and almost like, you know, like towards the side, on the distal side, okay? Okay. Then again, ridge here, a small ridge. Just going to take a look if I'm happy with my ridges. I want a little bit more here, so I'm going to do that. Just reduce on both the sides. Okay, and then the distal now. So I'm trying to create a small ridge for distal as well. There's a difference in the height also, okay, for the buccal cusp, mesiobuccal, then disto, and then the distal. But even if you don't do that, it's okay, because sometimes you'll end up reducing too much and then it won't even look like a tooth anymore. So, but just know from the theory point of view that even the height of cusps change on the buccal side. Lingual, they're almost equal. Okay, so after I've done that, this is a bit tricky, so please watch. If you remember how we did the cusps, yeah, so the cuspal carving is what we're gonna do. So first thing I'm gonna do is divide the cusp nicely, and then just run your carver like that, okay, and at the same time create a ridge here. That's how you work, and then you do another one like that, and okay, just carve your cusp. And the same here. So the lingual groove connects with the buccal grooves and kind of makes a V shape. So that's what you see here, okay? So that's why we did that slant line. And the same thing you will see once I finish how the V is created. So I'm just doing that right now, okay? I'm just going around the cusps like that. And then this is the distal. So when you're doing that, meanwhile you're carving. You understand what I mean? So while you're taking out, so at the same time you're doing the carving of the cusps. Okay? So once you've done that, I want to do the fossas. This is again a little bit tricky, so watch. Take your sharp end right where you want your fossas. Okay, so that's where you kind of do a small punch, but don't like make a like a hole. We want a small triangle, very small triangle we want, okay, at that area. So that's going to be your mesial and distal fossa, okay. So try to use a very sharp carver. It's good. Okay, let's try. So please watch how I'm doing it. So once you remove a bit, just lift your carver and see what you've done with it, okay? A little bit more I would like. Okay. Same on the other side. So once you've created the fossa, again carve around it, okay, and make it smooth. Again, I'm carving the cusps. This is the main part. Your cusps should look nice and carved and pretty. So all these grooves should not look like lines anymore. They should all be carved, okay? As if it's all like continuous. You can see. So I'm just going to finish it a little bit more. So remove all this wax debris which is there on the occlusal surface to make it neater. Then I want to look at the height of the cusps. I'm happy with the lingual. Even buccal I'm happy because it's slightly shorter than the lingual. And maybe a bit of shape I want to give for the buccal, so I'm just going to run my carver like that. Quite happy. The ridges are good. The outline is good. Yeah. So now I'm going to do the root. know how to do the root, let's go a bit like 5 down. This is very easy, just go down straight along the outline of your tooth like that. Not much to remove because your tooth is almost as big as your wax block, so you just have to remove that small ledge which is there. Okay, first make it box-like, and then you can do the smoothing or rounding. So we're not doing the entire root, which is lucky for you, because molar roots are one of the most difficult roots to carve. Also, I think the premolar, the maxillary first premolar, is a bit tricky too because of the bifurcation. There are high chances of it fracturing when you try to do that. Okay? So now try to merge it with the outline of your crown. Always, I've seen many kinds of roots. Roots which are jetting out, roots which are like totally like crushed. It should always be in line with the outline of your crown. That's how your root should be. Don't put too much pressure whenever you're doing this step, okay? Because you've finished your crown, you don't want to over carve it, okay? So it's just to make it all come together. Clean your base always, especially in the exams, when there is a mark for submission, finishing, okay? When you're submitting your carving. So we look at all these things of how clean your tooth is to look at as well, not just the shine or the finishing, also how neat it is. Okay, so once I've done with the root, I'm going to do the cervical line, which is okay, almost straight actually. There's a very slight curvature, very, very slight.